What's new, crew? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name's Cassandra. I am a mom of 4, and today I kind of thought I would talk about some budget activities that I'm doing with my kids that I do all the time just to get them out of the house, to keep things rocking and rolling and keep them entertained. Summertime can get super expensive if you're home all day with your kids trying to find different activities and things to do with them to keep them occupied, keep their little minds and their little hands busy, and also try to keep a little bit of your sanity because kids during the summertime can be a little bit of a lot. So here are some things that I've learned just over the course of being a mom, I guess, that I do to keep my kids busy, especially if they're used to being in school all day and having their minds constantly working and their hands constantly busy, to being at home where there's less of a schedule during the summer and things are just a little bit more relaxed, or at least that's the way we try to keep it here. I'm starting with my kids' favorite summer pastime, and that is the beach. Here where I live in the Midwest, beaches are free. However, when we lived in New York, that was the first time I ever experienced having to pay to go to a beach. I did not know that was a thing, paying for parking or things like that. So when we went to the beach out in New York, specifically, I'm pretty sure it was Lake Ontario, gorgeous, beautiful, perfect beach. I understand why you have to pay so that they can hire people to like maintain the beaches and keep them pristine. So I definitely think it's worth it, but we would park way far away from the beach, like a mile or so, and we would track in through the beach and just carry everything in and do like a little hike before the beach, and it worked out really well that way. Kids love the beach. We just pack ourselves a cooler, we head to the lake, and we will spend hours upon hours there. We were just at the beach yesterday. We stayed for like 5.5 hours. All we do is pack a cooler, fill it with all of our drinks and snacks and lunch, and we just go until the kids collapse or it's getting time where we've been there long enough and we got to get home and do the dinner and end of the day things. So my kids love the beach. Don't underestimate the park. My kids love the park. My kids span in age. My oldest is 7, closer to 8, and my youngest is 6 months. So for my older kids, sometimes the park is a hit or miss. Sometimes they're bored, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they really love it. But the park is a great budget. It is free. It is just your gas to get there and your gas to get home. Once again, we always pack a cooler or at least a little Tupperware with some snacks, or grab a couple of apples, and that way if the kids want a snack, they can sit down at a picnic table, they can eat a little bit, give themselves a drink, head back out into the park, and we'll spend a couple hours there. It breaks up the day a little bit, and usually then if they spend a couple hours in the morning at the park when it's cooler, we can spend the afternoon when it's hotter in the house, hanging out, watching movies, or doing some of the other things on our list. Budget movie theaters are where it is at. I remember as a kid, my dad bringing me to the budget movie theater. We live in a really small town, or we lived in a really small town as I was a kid, so we didn't have any movie theaters anywhere near where we lived. We had to drive like an hour, but because we had to drive so far, we would pay to do double features. So we would see one movie, there'd be like a 30 or 40 minute in between, and then we would go in and see the second movie, and we'd spend like pretty much all Saturday at the movie theater, and it was a ton of fun, super budget friendly. I think back then it was probably like $3 or $4 a ticket, plus my dad would get like a really large popcorn, and then the movie theater where we went actually had little almost like solo cups, and my dad would just scoop us all out our individual popcorns out of the big bucket, and we all had our little popcorn. When we needed more, we'd pass down our little cup, he'd refill it, we'd pass it back down. So much fun. So budget theaters are always where it's at. I'm lucky now, I moved to a little bit of or closer to a bigger city, so you know, 30 minutes down the road is a budget movie theater from us now, and kids love to go see the budget movie theaters, and it's a lot of fun, especially if you're having a crazy heat wave. It still gets everybody out of the house doing something a little bit different, and that's a lot of fun. You could also try to find a drive-in movie theater. We have some of those around us. Drive in, bring your long chairs, hang out, let the kids kind of sit down in their chairs, watch the movie. Always good fun. I'm a huge fan of one-time purchase items, so I bought this. I actually just got this from Walmart. It was super inexpensive. I'm pretty sure it was under $20, and there are 6 yard games in here, and they're all plastic. They're kind of, I mean, let's just be honest, they're cheap. They're definitely kind of chintzy, but they are perfect for my younger kids. Even teenagers, preteens, I think would love this. But there's a ton of games in here. You have badminton, volleyball, the bottle strike game where you throw the frisbee and you knock the bottle off the post. There's horseshoes in here, lawn darts, ton of different things. I set this up for the first time a couple days ago, and I've just left the net up in my yard. All the games are out there. The kids can run out there and play. Same with a volleyball, a frisbee, 2 birdies, and 2 rackets. So I'm personally gonna go and buy probably 2 more rackets so that all of my kids can play, and then myself or a parent or something can get involved. It also has horseshoes. I don't know if I said that. It's just a one-time purchase. I set it up in the yard. Kids can play with it all summer long. Go out in the yard when they're bored, play a little bit, come back in, go back out, play a different game. Just keeps them busy, gives them something to do, and gets them to be a little bit active. And for under 20 bucks, I think that's awesome. It's perfect for my size of kids. Like I said, I think even up into early teenagers would have a ton of fun with this, and super simple, super easy, and it's good for those days where you have things to do around the house, you want to get some laundry done, you have to catch up on whatever. Maybe I have a ton of chicken chores or garden chores to do. The kids can play outside and be outside with me, but they don't necessarily have to be doing what I'm doing, and can keep them busy while I can get done what I need to get done. Getting into more one-time purchases, definitely bikes, scooters, anything for them to ride on in the driveway. My kids love that stuff, and my kids are still little enough where that's fun, and then we can go on bike rides or walks and the kids can ride whatever they want to ride. And just another thing, get out of the house a little bit, get a little fresh air, especially in the morning or later in the evening before it is super hot. Gets them out and about and gives you a little bit of a mental break, and maybe can get you out of your house and forgetting about all the things that you should be doing, but you're not, because you have all these little kids to entertain. My kids love board games and cards. We play a lot of games in the winter months because in the Midwest we're kind of locked in, especially January, February, when it just gets too cold to really be outside for longer than a couple minutes at a time. But in the summertime, it's really nice, especially in the heat of the day, to break out a board game or a card game. My older girls, who are 5 and 7, definitely love to play card games. They love anything like Uno or Go Fish or like anything, War. My kids love to play all those games. To get my 3-year-old involved, they love to play either charades or the other one they really like is Sequence. They got Sequence for Christmas, and my 3-year-old can play that. It's a lot of fun, gets everybody involved, and break up the day, give them a board game, and you can get some things done, or maybe just enjoy a little bit of peace and quiet. I always buy a huge box of Play-Doh from Walmart at the beginning of the summer. They have a big box of Play-Doh that's about 20 bucks, and it is worth it to me. I'll break that out on a rainy day to be inside, the kids can play, or maybe they want to be outside and they can sit down at on the deck at the table in the shade and hang out a little bit, play their Play-Doh, and sometimes I'll read them a book. Right now we're reading Old Yeller. We wanted to read some of the old classics during the summer, so that's what we're starting with. So I'll read aloud to them. They can play with their Play-Doh, or they could color, or they could paint, or do any sort of craft activity. My kids love to go to the Dollar Tree, and we'll just load up a big basket like once a month and stock up on all the crafts and stickers and all the fun little things that they have to paint there or whatever it is. And then if they ever want something to do, they're coming to me, they're saying, Mom, I'm bored. I'll say, hey, go to the craft closet, grab something out, let's sit down and paint or do whatever. And it helps kind of give them something to do when they're bored and they don't really want to play with their toys or something. It's something that they don't see all the time, and it's easy to pull out a craft or Play-Doh, and keeps them busy for a little bit. My kids love to go on hikes. We recently just started going like waterfall hunting with the kids, and that's been super fun. So we've been doing that on weekends more with my husband so that he can go with us, but the kids are really loving that. Of course, fishing. We love to fish either out on the boat or just off the shore. It's a one-time purchase. Get your kids a pole, kind of teach them how to use it, and hours and hours and hours of fun fishing. The last thing, of course, I love to get my kids in the kitchen making their own snacks, specifically in the summertime, or making popsicles or anything like that. They also will eat their snacks a little bit better, I think, if they're getting in the kitchen and learning how to make them, whether that be cookies or trail mix, popsicles, anything. My kids love to get in the kitchen and help me, and it's a lot of fun when we can make fun snacks together or find recipes together on Pinterest and kind of get in the kitchen and make them, and of course eat them all together. thank you guys so much for taking a little time out of your day to hang out with me. These are some budget activities that I'll be doing with all 4 of my kids all throughout the summer to keep their little minds busy and their little hands out of trouble. Let me know if you'll be trying any of these with your kids, or if you have anything else, let me know down in the comments. And of course, I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.